Hello my friends and welcome back to Kev's Hobby Showcase. I'm of course Kevin, and you may have also seen me on Tabletop Jones Productions, where me and John are the two idiots playing board games. And also, if you can venture over to Patreon, you may also see me on Tales from the Tabletop, which is John and I's channel over there. So anyway, today I'm going to be painting again some battlemechs for the game Battletech. And this time I put together a lance to go with the faction Comstar. So here we have the Black Knight. This one is actually one of those premium mechs that I mentioned before, where you actually have to put it together yourself. And then next I have the Crab. All right, and this is this is the Exterminator. And lastly, I'm not going to use things over, the Mongoose. So this is actually one of two teams I made for Comstar. I'm sorry, Comstar. I'll do the other one another time, because trying not to make videos that are over an hour long anymore. Trying to keep them a little bit shorter. And I don't know if you've noticed from the last bunch of videos I made, I am now in the breaks starting to post still pictures of minis that I've done before. Just that, little showcase of stuff that I've done. Eventually I'm going to start putting up pictures of minis that I did before I do these videos, so just gotta be patient with me on that one. Oh, sorry, that was my phone. So anyway, stay tuned and I will be right back. Alright, I'm back, and the weather's pretty good to do some priming, so let's just get to it with this lance of battlemechs. I'll start off with the Black Knight. Fortunately, wind is still a bit gusty, so it is blowing it every which way. Alright, Crab next. Now these mechs are mostly kind of small, so you don't really need a lot of primer on them. So I know some of the lances I've done, this is the Exterminator, some of the lances I've done, the mechs were kind of big because they were the assault class, but these are not. Some of them I'm pretty sure are the light class, which is the smallest. Alright, here we go with the Mongoose. Okay, and that's it. That's all. So, once that primer dries, and like I said, I've said many times, you just gotta let it give it time, let it settle in, so all the little nooks and crannies, just like you do with the wash. So I'm gonna let that dry, and we'll come back. I'm gonna do some base coating, so stay tuned, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back, and that primer is now dried, and so now we're going to paint this lance for the faction Comstar in the excuse me, in the Battletech game. Now I had looked up the color scheme a while back. It's mostly white, so it's almost going to be like painting stormtroopers. So just going to be white, base coat white. Nothing really, no details, nothing really in details added to it. But I'm going to use gunmetal for the weapons and for the cockpit window, and then of course black for the outline of the base. And if you hear that helicopter, they're coming for me. A little joke. All right, so let's get to it, right? Okay. Put this down. And over there they are. All right. Now let me use this, since it's pretty much a brand new brush. This way nothing will bleed through. Okay. Yeah, so actually just recently, I think I've mentioned this, I'm sure several times. Just recently, I had checked my email and found that the Kickstarter that I contributed to was ready to be shipped. And I got very lucky with the cost of the shipping. It was not that much. It was like just over $7, which was really, really nice. Now, that was a while back. I mean, well, not, I say a while back, but that was a couple of weekends ago. And I'm still waiting. I haven't gotten any confirmation email that it's actually been shipped. But I'm just hoping that it comes soon, because at the moment I am off from my job. And it would be really nice if it arrives while I'm still home. So I'll be home for still at least one more week. Took the rest of my vacation time at the end of the year, combined it with a couple of days for the New Year's vacation time to give myself about a week and a half off around all these nice holidays. It's a nice little vacation I try to give myself every year. It's a little bit different this year, unfortunately, because I just recently lost my cat. You know, he was a very good companion to me, especially in the times where I don't have my kids living with me and they're with their mom. But I'm coping. But I usually do these videos in clusters, and in this little cluster of videos I did put together a tribute to my cat Logan. So be sure to check that video out. Although be warned, I did find a nice somber piece of music that I was able to use for when I show the pictures of my little buddy. And let's just say, when I heard the music, I myself had a bit of a moment. I had to compose myself. Okay. All right, this here miniature that I'm doing, I'm sure I've mentioned it already, is one of those premium ones that you have to put together. You know, they usually, what they do is they give you a choice on the limbs, and I think even the heads, but I think mostly the limbs. Yeah, not too bad with them. All right. Well, now just for the record, I'm not the type of person that usually makes New Year's resolutions, because I'm usually the type of person that doesn't keep those, you know, said resolutions, or at least I don't keep them in the spirit that I meant them. But this year, this coming year, there's a few resolutions that basically are part of me and also my friend John making our lives seemingly better. It is resolving to keep up with these videos. I'm going to be keeping up with the writing I've been doing. So hopefully before the end of the year, I'll have not only whatever what I'm making exclusively for Patreon channel. But I will also have another book out. That is at least the goal. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear it, but the wind is picking up yet again. It's gusting. It's been gusting almost all day. I feel fortunate that when I went outside to do the priming, that it was relatively calm. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, like I said, when I checked the specs for Comstar, it did say pretty much, it just said white. I didn't really say anything else. So this paint job should be relatively quick, or at least as quick as it normally is for me to paint for Battlemechs. All right, it's coming on. It's going on pretty good. And like I said in the beginning of the video, this is like one of two teams I was able to form with Comstar. And in fact, there are some of the other factions I was able to put together a separate team. That's going to be like way down the line as far as like with the videos. Try to spread them out as much as possible so I don't run out of minis before I'm able to get more. Because if anything's going to slow me down, that will be it. But as far as the, oops, gotta get that down. As far as the battlemechs go, so far so good. I mean, as far, I do have a fair amount that I have basically waiting to be done. And so yeah, I mean, I think in a previous video I was mentioning, when I started putting together these teams for these factions, it was because, I realized that some of them weren't going to have like a lance pack out for them. It was just basically up to me to do it. That's all right, because that's what we all did before they started doing this stuff. Just put the teams together ourselves. And for the most part, thankfully, there's no real, at least I don't think there are too many battlemechs that are faction specific, where they were only for the one faction. I mean, I based my decisions on a package of Mech Warrior cards that I had that had so it would actually give the Mech Warrior's name, the battlemech that they're attached to, and then it would give the the faction that they came from. And I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, well, that'll help. Okay, just trying to get every inch, because once I'm done with the base coat for these guys, just let the base coat dry. Then I come back and I'll do the weapons, the cockpit window with the gunmetal, and I'll do you know, the little bit of, I'll do the outline of the base in black. All right. Oops. Just want to put too much there. And actually, there's, John and I were talking about, like for certain games that we would do campaigns, like even this one, that we would put the campaign on Patreon. You know, we'll see how that works out. All right, so that's it for the base coat for these guys. Okay, so got the base coat on. We're going to let that dry. When we come back, we're going to do, like I just said, we're going to do the weapons in the cockpit window and do around the base. All right, so that's the next step, so stay tuned, and I will be right back. Okay, we've given all that base coat some time to dry, and next we're going to start with gunmetal. So, here we go. Alright. Okay. Okay. So, like I've been saying, with the gunmetal color, we're going to do it on the weapons and where the cockpit windows are. Alright, so let's get the obvious ones. Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying about the Kickstarter stuff. Yeah, I remember it was a couple of weeks ago, and I got the email because I think there was a few choices I had to make as far as like what products I was actually getting. So I, try to pick the best ones that I could for myself. And like I've been saying, the what's pretty cool about this particular Kickstarter was they were starting to bring in vehicles, because until now, Catalyst Labs, who has basically control over the Battletech game, they basically were only doing battlemechs. And, I think they did a good job on them. They started off simple, and then they started getting them a little bit more elaborate. And, they're looking good. But, I'm sure I'm not the only Battletech fan who is basically just waiting for all the other stuff to come out, like the, not only the vehicles, but also all the infantry, so that we can make basically any army that we want. And also with the vehicles is going to come the aircraft, and I believe I ordered at least one of those. Unfortunately, it's not a packet of them. It's just like one individual fighter. So, but, one is better than none, right? I mean, essentially what I'm going to have to make a decision on is what faction am I going to paint it for? I haven't made that decision yet. And I'm hoping that during the course of the year, because once all the Kickstarter stuff comes out, comes out for those who backed it, then it starts coming out into the actual stores. You know, especially online stores like Amazon. But Catalyst Labs also has their own shop site from their website. I have ordered from them quite a bit. Oh, sounds like someone's flexing their motor muscles. If you can hear the vroom vroom. Alright, that's pretty much all the weapons on the Black Knight here, so the only thing left is the cockpit window, which they made extremely tiny. But I think I got it. Yep, I got it. That's all the weapons there. Alright, so that's that. You know, since we're doing, as always, we're doing this assembly line method, so I will do everything with gunmetal before I go to the black for the base. Okay. Now, one thing I haven't decided if I'm going to do yet when the Kickstarter stuff does arrive is if I'm going to do an unboxing video. I have heard of people doing those, and I have heard that they're pretty popular, but I'm just undecided as to whether or not I'm going to do that. Okay. All right. Oh, wait. I think there's little tiny bits. All right. Okay. It's coming along really nice. One thing I do like about the battlemechs for Battletech is you don't have to get too elaborate with the color schemes and whatnot. You can, for the most part, keep it simple. I know there are others that like to get, you know, very creative when it comes to this stuff. And by all means, I would never discourage it. But I don't always like to go down that route. I try to keep it to what it's supposed to be for the faction that I'm painting it for. I don't always like to take liberties. While I'm here, I may as well get the cockpit window. Oh, a little bit on this side as well. Okay. And don't really see any other weapons. So we're gonna let that go. Oh, actually, I don't know what that's supposed to be, but yeah, gonna get that. Looks like about 5 exhaust ports, but I'm gonna do it in this color anyway. Okay. And now the crab. Looks like on his little pincers here, it wasn't totally dry yet. Oh well. Alright. Nice little gun up here by the front. Let's get this. Okay. not sure what this is, but I'm going to give it, I'm going to paint a gunmetal. Okay. There we go. All right, and that's it for that. Okay, so now we're going to get on the base with black. And then, as always, when I make, because I put labels on these so that I know what faction they're for and what the mech is. So as always, I'll put the majority of those labels on off camera. And I'll save one to do on camera. All right. Okay. Okay, one more side for this one. All right, last one. And then we'll take a break to let all this dry, because this black paint definitely has to dry in order for me to get these labels on. All right. Okay. I like to think we're moving pretty good on this one. Okay, so we're going to give that paint some time to dry. Excuse me. I'll do most of the labels off camera, save one for on camera, and then we'll do the base, which, you know, if you've seen my previous videos with Battletechs, with the battlemech from Battletechs, I do the base differently. I actually put something on it that looks like terrain. And then after that, the only thing that's left is the wash, and then that's it. All right, so stay tuned, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back and giving that paint some time to dry, and like I said, like I always do with the battlemechs, I did 3 of them off camera, saved 1 to do on camera, so as far as the labels go. So let's get it done. All right. So, yeah. Oh, I guess the funny part is that I put on the headgear here to, like I would do with anything else, but when I'm doing this off camera, I don't use it. But I figured, why not? I'm going to need it anyway, because right from here, I'm going to do the base. Let's get this off the meaty part of my finger. So as I was saying, after this, we're going to do the base, and then the wash. So I'm going to be doing all of it from this point on. All right, so I chose grassland. Wanted to keep it simple today. And I don't always mention it, but I use clear Elmer's glue to make the terrain stick. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of other glues that you could use. This is just the one I chose. Partly because it's clear. But also because it's just, you know, just an easy thing to use. Okay. All right. Let's get that on there. So when you're doing this, if you do this like I do it, always shake off the excess, because if you don't, eventually it'll start falling off and it won't look as good. And as a matter of fact, that gunmetal part doesn't seem to be staying as much. It's mostly going off on my fingers. But when I go over it with the wash, it might actually look pretty good. Because even if it looks like it's worn, that's okay, because these are weapons of war. And they're going to get worn. They're going to get all scratched up. They're going to get dinged up. You know, it's like if you're thinking about it from a realistic point of view as to what would actually happen to them, you know, it's not going to be, they're not going to look, you know, right off the assembly line all the time. Sometimes they might look like something you found in a used car lot, or dare I say it, a junkyard. Okay. All right, 2 down, 2 to go. Now, I'll admit I probably put too much of this glue on here for this, but the reason I do that is because every time I feel, you know, when I didn't, I always felt like I didn't put enough, because it wasn't, like I would find like bald spots and whatnot, so I'm trying to avoid that. Trying to spread it out as evenly as I can. And at the very least, wipe it off the edges that have the labels, if you choose to do these labels like I do. Okay, and now the last one. And then we get to the wash. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. The way I put this thing together, I didn't think it was going to fit in here far enough to get to the actual terrain. I thought I was going to have to try to do something else. But it did. Okay. All right. Well, so we're done with that. And I'm just going to go straight into the wash rather than take another break. Okay. Okay, yeah. So while I'm home, I'm also, you know, utilizing my time trying to learn, you know, different games, or refamiliarizing myself with rules for certain games that I'm going to be using. Well, actually, let me rephrase that both me and John are going to be using on Tabletop Jones, and also Patreon. So trying to get good with, with a bunch of those rules. So this way we don't spend all of our time reading rules. Okay. And one of the things that I'm probably going to do, because I've already printed out the data sheets for it, is I'm going to play Battletech in the classic format with the data sheets that you would have to fill in the circles for the armor and whatnot every time you take a hit and whatnot. So I want to get used to playing that way again, only because it's a more involved way of playing the game, and there's more you can do with it. It's like you actually need the piloting skill number for some of the things that could happen when you play it the classical way, which you don't really need when you're doing it the Alpha Strike way, which is the way John and I actually played it when we had it on. Well, it hasn't been posted yet, but when he does post a video on Tabletop Jones Productions, that's how we played it. We played it in the manner of Alpha Strike. We didn't do it the classical way. But that's also in part because John's never played the game before, and I wanted to take it easy on him. I didn't want to bombard him with a whole bunch of rules that he has to learn, because there are times where we don't really give ourselves a lot of time to thoroughly go over rules, which, I don't know, I guess is not too smart a thing to do, but sometimes we want to just get to it because we're trying to establish ourselves. And best way to do that is to get videos out. So we'll have better stuff coming. And this, okay, it may have looked like the white is faded, but that's actually okay with me. It really filled in on the little crevices nicely, very nicely. All right, so and that's it. Now let me get them ready here. Get them up into the camera. There we go. We have a lance ready to go for Comstar, and I think they came out really good. I mean, sometimes with these you don't need to use a whole lot of color, but they still come out really good. And this is, in my opinion, this is the case. It's like a good example of that. So anyway, that's all I have for today. So please, like, share, subscribe, share this video as much as possible. Also, please check out Tabletop Jones Productions, where John and I are the two idiots playing board games. Also check out, if you are able to, because it is a pay site, check out our channel on Patreon, which is Tales from the Tabletop, or it might also be under Storytop Jones. We still haven't sorted that out yet. So anyway, so just watch as much as you can, share as much as you can, try to give us as much exposure as you can, because the bigger audience we can reach, the better it'll be. All right, so thank you very much. Thank you for watching. You take care of yourself and have a great day.